Hey guys, subscribe for daily content, and if you're shopping for gear, make sure you check out the description for the newest items at some of the very best online retailers. There's also links for some of the items that I personally recommend. Thanks!
What's going on YouTube? Metal Complex here, and today I've got another short little unboxing video to share with you guys. We have more Kizers, the second part of the box that was sent. As many of you know, at this point, that box did not go well. In fact, we periodically see failures from Kizer with locking systems. They do, what's cool is, as I mentioned in that video, is they are one of, if not the only company right now outside of Spyderco doing an actual compression lock. And in the case of this sheepdog, this is a button-operated true compression lock. This is amazing. They did a great job. I think they've created one of the best budget knives of all time, right? Outside of the heat treatment, I think their heat treatment could be a little better. But a very, very good budget knife. But as we've seen with a lot of their stuff, there seems to be a broad spectrum when it comes to quality control, specifically, I think, when it comes to their lock bar tension. I did actually sample a knife from the last batch that had what felt like subpar lock bar tension, like light lock bar tension, and it was fine. But there was another one in that box that had the same lock bar tension. I said it felt light. I feel like it's going to disengage. And you know what? After some light taps, right? Not cannon blasts, no, some light taps, it did disengage, which is a problem, right? So there's obviously something that needs to happen. I'm rooting for Kizer. I like Kizer. I'm a Kizer fan, but I'm a product reviewer. And even though I get this stuff for free, and I have affiliate links where if you guys click on them and you buy something, I get paid, it's my responsibility to point out when things are not, up to standard. And I feel like in the case of while I fully expect for example, a frame lock, after some, anywhere from light to medium spine taps, like frame locks in general, I just expect them to disengage, right? But I also don't think they're the best locking system. On a compression lock, however, I do not expect that. I think that should be held to a higher standard. So I feel like it's my duty to point that out. I'm rooting for Kizer. I hope that we get some good stuff in this batch, but I'm just pointing out here because whenever I do stuff like that, it ruffles feathers. But I'm going to do it anyway. So let's see what we've got. Today's video is not a review. It's just an unboxing and first impressions. Please make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. And of course, there'll be links for Kizer products down in the description. Okay, let's start off with the fixed blade. Kizer makes a pretty good fixed blade outside of, just consistency with heat treatment. This is called the Bone, and it's in copper Damascus, an acid wash. That's cool. So more of a dressy fixed blade here. The Bone. Oh boy. Cool. See, this is what I like about Kizers. Like, they're able to do stuff like this that's cool. I like this. And obviously the fit and finish is good. I mean, it's simple. It's a fixed blade, right? It's not nearly as complicated as a folding knife, right? This is layers of what I assume are, it might actually be triple composition where we have a high and low carbon steel, and then we also have layers of copper. It also might just be one stainless composition of steel and then layers of copper. But either way, pretty cool. Probably not going to win any awards for edge retention or performance or anything, but it does look nice. I do like that. I think that it's fun and cool, and it is actually pattern welded. I mean, it's not, it's technically not true Damascus. The secrets of Woots. Yeah, all that everybody knows. But it is modern pattern welded Damascus, not just a surface finish made to look like Damascus. So that's pretty cool. And I like the micarta. The micarta? Micarta. My God. There we go. Kind of the faux carbon fiber sheath there. What's this? Oh, get that out of there. Okay, cool. Got the molly clip. Very nice. Can be rotated, etc., etc. Not much to say there, but a nice fixed blade for sure, and comfortable. A nice little fit. I wish the sheath was a little slimmer so I could put this in my pocket, but it's nice. No complaints there. Okay, we have the Begleiter 2.9 in BD1 and S35VN. Let's try out the 2.9 here in, did it say AEBL? So this is a simple crossbar lock. And, crossbar locks, the nice thing about crossbar locks is that they tend to be very reliable in terms of lockup solidity. Begleiter is always a good knife. The Begleiter is one of their classics, right? Crossbar locks by nature usually will hold up better to light spine. I never go beyond what I consider to be light spine whack. I don't even call it a whack. It's more of a tap. It's more, what I do is a spine tickle, right? A little tickle. We got a little aggressive with the tickling there. Just a little aggressive tickle, but a tickle nonetheless. Pass. The downside to crossbar locks is that they utilize omega springs, right? So it's not so much the worry that the locking system is going to disengage if you, whoa, and you run it into bricks or whatever, or you get it stuck and you wiggle it right, whatever example you want to use. No, typically a crossbar lock is not going to do that just because of the nature of the way that that bar slides into place. The problem is that the omega springs can be anywhere from seemingly indestructible to made of eggshells and wicker and like Easter basket grass. Like I mean, it's crazy the varying levels of reliability with omega springs. I mean, it's obnoxious. You know, it's not impossible to replace them, but that's why I advocate for crossbar locks with coil springs, because then we just eliminate the issue and usually we increase the tension. The coil spring operated crossbar locks typically have, I don't know, like 30 to 40% more tension, more pressure pushing that lock bar into place, which makes them that much more reliable. And normally, coil springs don't just like die. Like, it takes a long time anyway. So this is fine. It's a good EDC profile. Crossbar locks are good, and Kizer does a good job. I don't know what AEBL's optimized HRC range is, and I don't know if Kizer actually hits it, but Taylor will be down there in the comments with his usual data, which is very cool. Glad that he's there. This is the Begleiter 2.9 in S35VN and aluminum, and the nice thing is that, when Kizer combines materials like this, typically the prices are reasonable, right? So here's looks like the S35VN and aluminum, like, yeah, they're coming in at like 109, and this is MAP, so I think that means street price, or otherwise we'd see MSRP. So yeah, $109 there for aluminum and S35VN. I don't think that sounds bad, right? Assuming that Kizer can hit that bare minimum of 59 on S35VN. I typically like to see S35VN at least 59, and I'll remind people, because there's always new people thinking anything above 60 is good and anything below 60 is bad. That's not how that works. Every steel has a different optimized and base, acceptable range. For example, M390, I personally think the base acceptable HRC is 60, whereas S35VN, from what I understand, from what I've read, right? This is a button operated compression lock here. We're gonna have to test that. But S35VN, a little lower. I think we can hit 59 with that one, and we're okay, right? See, the tension on this feels greater than the ones before. I'll show you here the detent. Feels a little heavier. How you gonna hold up there, big guy? I'm rooting for Kizer. I want you guys to have a W, because a Begleiter with a top liner lock, compression lock, button operated, whatever, a good combo. Did it disengage? Yeah, and to be fair, I felt like I hit that one a little bit harder, but still not really. I'm not really hitting these all that hard. It's about level 1 here, level 2, 3. We're getting up to about a 3 or 4 in my test, and I've gone much harder. So I don't know. I mean, there's nothing I can do about people feeling like I'm being unfair, but you have to understand, I have no incentive to paint Kizer in this. I have every incentive in the world to pretend like these things are perfect, because when people buy them, I make money. And when you don't buy them, I don't make, if you're using my links, I don't make any money. So, people will desperately search for a reason for me to be suddenly talking about this. Let's all step back and imagine this, right? For those people who are skeptical and cynical, right? which is ironic in this case. Imagine for a second that it might just be that I don't want stuff like this in the market. I don't want people buying things like this from my channel, right? Because if I'm like, oh yeah, it's great, and then they go out and they use it and they hurt themselves, well, they bought it on my recommendation. I don't want to do that. I want to recommend things that I think are appropriate for each individual person, right? There are plenty of frame locks that will disengage, and I'll say, yeah, it's good, but you have to keep in mind, like, this is not the strongest locking system, so I'll recommend it to people who, plan to go out and, put it through, like, light to medium duty tasks. But if you're really going to pound on your knife, if you're going to use it really hard, then maybe you want something like a shark lock or whatever. Typically, button-operated top liner locks and compression locks hold up to more I don't want to say abuse, but heavier duty, more risky style tasks. Tasks that put more pressure, force, impact on the locking system. And from what I have seen from Spyderco with a compression lock, or from Vosteed with a button-operated top liner lock, these locking systems tend to hold up a little bit better. So I make my recommendations based on that and who I think right? It's not like everything's broad spectrum. I'm saying if it's good for everybody. No, it's typically, here's what I think is good. It's very rare that I say a knife is like really, truly meant for everybody, right? So this type of thing does not get a pass from me because I expect more from this locking system. And the type of people that I'm going to recommend it to, right? Like from what I have said, what I have come to expect from the locking system, I'm going to be harder with this. It's like I also expect more from the axis lock, which, as you can see, like that one held up just fine. The maximum amount of force, by the way, that's being applied to these knives is enough to make small dots in this vinyl upholstery. I mean, look, these are little impact marks right here, right? This is it's just like fake leather. So there's not a lot of force. This is very minimal force. It's like I've said before. I have the lightest spine tickle test on all of YouTube, right? I'm a reasonable person. I'm not going to go out and tie the knife to the end of a sledgehammer and bash it against a railroad. I'm not going to do that because it's stupid. It doesn't mean anything. But what I apply to these knives is, while rare and unlikely, it is within the realm of, normal. Like, it is expected that, just because we can't control everything, right? Every single person watching this has experienced a whoopsie-daisy with a tool. Everyone. When you inevitably experience a powerful enough whoopsie-daisy with a locking system like this, the disengagement could send you to the hospital with a pretty hefty bill. And that's not something I'm willing to risk, even if it's like, it's only like 1 in 100 people. That's a lot. That's a lot. 1 in 100, 1 in 500. I don't want 1 in 500 people going to the hospital. I bought this knife because Metal Complex said, buy it. I cut the bejesus out of my finger. No, thank you. No, thank you. It says this at the bottom of every video. I preach safe and responsible use of pocket knives. I don't condone using knives as weapons, or I understand that that's circumstantially not always controllable. But no, I want to promote things that I think are high quality, that I think are safe, convenient, reliable, right? And if you're not passing the minimum, like the minimum standards on my channel, right? I'm a reasonable person. I'm an everyman. I'm a normal. I'm not taking these things out and doing extreme testing with them. If you can't pass my tests, you got to go back to the drawing board. I'm the freaking tutorial. I'm the first boss, basically, right? You jump into any video game, I'm the first boss. You should be able to handle me pretty easily, right? So this is cool. This is fine. This and Kizer needs to rework, it seems like, a lot of their button-operated compression locks, and it sounds like a combination of geometry and lock bar tension. I think their lock bar tension needs to be increased. It's very easy. This button, there's so much surface contact, it's so easy to push it. Increasing the tension here, if it's possible, by 30, 40, 50% should be easy, and it won't really make any difference in terms of the ease of manipulation. It should make the lock bar, the locking system, more reliable. Make it engage properly. Make it engage fully, right? I would even take a subtle stick with massively increased reliability. I don't want to get cut by a knife. So Links for new Kizer products down in the description. That's going to be it from me today. Thanks again to Kizer for sending this in. Please look into this stuff. Make sure to follow me on Instagram at metal_complex. If you enjoyed this video, leave a like. If you'd like to check out my other content, I do, of course, have lots of videos of knives that are either expensive or inexpensive that I do or don't like, so check those out. And if you enjoy all my content, go ahead and click on that Metal Complex. I'll go right there and subscribe because there's definitely more coming. Thanks again for watching, everybody, and have a great day.